Welcome to the MLG Spring Championship Kespa qualifiers. My name is Whiplash, casting along with Supernova Maniac. We're going to be jumping right into the round of 32. We'll be casting specific replays from the qualifiers here, the most interesting and exciting games for you guys, so don't worry, the replays have been picked out, and they're going to be as exciting as possible. And spawning in the top left-hand position, this is going to be the blue Protoss player from KT Rolster. His name is Stats, and he is a Pro League veteran.
And here is someone you don't regularly see from Samsung Khan. His name is Guilty, spawning as Yellow Terran at the 5 o'clock position.
Yeah, now, Guilty is more of an amateur player. He hasn't played in Pro League, but he's playing from the practice house, so the nerves, they're not going to really affect him.
And that's the reason why a lot of these amateur players, they make it through the qualifiers, because you always expect players like Innovation, Rain to make it into MLG, but these amateur players, they're not afraid anymore. They don't have to play in front of the referees. They don't have to play in front of the fans. Yeah, they get to play on their own computers that they always practice on, so they can generally go to that 100%. Whenever these Korean players talk in interviews, they almost always say, yeah, maybe I played like 70 to 80% of my level. Occasionally, you know, they'll be like, oh yeah, I played like perfect, man. I just had a great game. But playing in the practice house for these qualifier tournaments, it's going to allow a lot of these amateur players to, you know, do a lot better than they normally would in a Pro League or live setting. And hey, you win this qualifier, free trip to the United States, free trip to Anaheim for MLG Spring Championship.
Yeah.
And hold on a second, we do have a probe hidden over there near Guilty's main base.
Indeed we do. Now, this probe has been sent out really fast, so a little bit interesting. It's definitely going to be a proxy, because there would be no other reason for him to send out a probe.
In fact, we do have 3 probes in the geyser over there, so Stats right now, he wants to get as much gas as possible, so I have a feeling it's going to be a Stargate.
Yeah, you know what? Nowadays, proxy Stargates are pretty common, actually, in PvT, and especially on this map as well. Now, the issue with this proxy location is that it's so obvious. It's a very, very common spot. The Terran player, or any player really, there's going to be a good chance that it's going to get scouted here. But, you know, it happens all the time in Pro League, but will Guilty, the amateur player from Samsung, go ahead and scout this? And yes, of course, it is going to be a proxy Stargate.
Well, looking at the build order right now, Guilty went for the reactor first instead of getting a Reaper out. So he's not going to have any scouting. I have a feeling he might go double Reapers behind this, but we don't see this much on Bel'Shir Vestige. But he does so anyways, and now is he going to scout the proxy location after seeing that there is one pylon missing inside the main base?
Look at the rally location of this barracks here. It's sent over to the right, so there is a good chance that he is going to eventually scout that. We do have the Mothership Core on the way from our Protoss player's Stats, and the reactor barracks is going to be able to turn out Marines pretty fast after those 2 Reapers complete, but the Stargate will complete first here, and we should see an Oracle getting chronoed out any second. Yep, there's the Oracle.
Yeah, but the SCV scouts to Stargate, so what is Guilty's reaction going to be? Is he going to try to take out the pylon? Yes, he's going to do so by building a bunker over there, making sure that those Reapers cannot get shot from the Oracle when it pops off.
Yeah, so this is pretty much Guilty trying to put the pressure on the Stats instead of vice versa. It's a pretty cool concept, actually, but the problem is the Oracle, it's going to complete before that bunker can finish from the SCV. It's going to be close, but I think that the Oracle will be able to pick it off right before that bunker finishes. Very nice timing from Stats. He does have to use some of that energy early on, but he's going to move in here and pick off a few of these workers. The Oracle's so good at harassing the Marine lines early on in the game, and he's going to get up to 7 worker kills before leaving, so even though he lost the pylon and he won't be able to produce anything else here, what a great investment from Stats.
Great investment, and also the key point is he kept this Oracle alive. Some players, they lose the Oracle when they go inside the main base, but Guilty didn't have enough Marines to take out the Oracle inside the main base. Now he has up to 5, but it doesn't matter, as Stassi knows that he can't step in with the Oracle once again. And this is so annoying for a Protoss player, because it's like, from the Protoss player's perspective, it's like keeping the Reaper alive on the map, because the Oracle can always scout what the Terran player is doing.
It's like keeping the Reaper alive, or having cloaked Banshees back in the Wings of Liberty era. You know, just kind of waiting around the corners, and you're like, oh, I have to keep a few Stalkers in my base. Now,
so annoying, man.
It is so annoying. Now, from our Terran perspective, looks like he's taking up to Starport. He does have a Widow Mine out, so he's going to be pretty defensive against the potential Oracle harass here. It's going to be over by that natural. We do have a Nexus on the way from Stats, as well as a robotics facility that's being constructed. So, ooh, the Oracle moving back in here. Is he going to be able to pick off a few of these workers? He gets one. Will he get another one? Yes, 2. And 10 kills total.
He got 3 additional SCV kills inside the main base. Really nice micro by Stats. And look at the HP on the Oracle. Still 100 and 100.
Yeah. So really impressive that he's been able to keep that alive.
Oh yeah, so now he could use the Revelation later on to delay Guilty's timing push. And look at the SCV to the probe count right now. 31 probes to 21 SCVs. Yes, there are 2 mules, but 2 mules do not cover up for 10 probes.
No, they don't. And so Stats taking a nice early lead here. He does have a supply lead as well. And the Oracle's still just continuing to be a passive threat to Guilty here. We also have a Forge on the way from Stats. This is a really common follow-up for players that open up Stargate. They'll generally, instead of getting a lot of gateways, look at the Forge early on. This is becoming more and more common in this matchup. Following this, Guilty, he is sending a medevac filled with 2 Widow Mines and 4 Marines. Oh, but very smart. Stats, he has that probe and he tries to sneak it in, but Guilty, he's able to pick it off.
We do have Hellbats coming out on the way, but Protoss players have been becoming a lot better at defending against the Hellbats. What they do is get the Forge, get the +1 upgrades, while also throwing down cannons at the main base and the natural.
Yeah, just another way to use that Forge early on. We do have Stim being researched here. Second Forge on the way for Stats really early on, so he really wants to focus heavily on those upgrades. Getting a Twilight Council as well. He does have the robotics facility and a full energy mothership core here. All right, here comes the drop into the main base here. The probes instantly being pulled off of the mineral line. Nexus Cannon going down as well. The Widow Mines, okay.
Really nice split from Stats as he forced all the probes to split in 2 different directions instead of just one direction clumping up every single probe.
Yeah, he's actually lost 0 workers here. May lose 1 to the single Widow Mine here.
Yeah, only 1 worker has been lost throughout the whole game, and that 1 worker lost was at the natural of Guilty.
Exactly, so these Widow Mines and this drop doing pretty much 0 damage to the Stats, and he's going to take an even larger lead here in addition to that. But the Hellbat drops, they could change this game around. Hellbats, of course, very powerful, very good at killing off worker lines. So we're going to have to see how Guilty's control with the medevacs and the Hellbats are. Also, we have a Templar Archives on the way, additional gateways. That +1 armor is about to complete. We have +1 attack for the Protoss player and charge on the way.
Here's the thing, since the initial drop didn't do that much damage, and since this Oracle is getting up to 15 kills inside the main base,
wow,
the Hellbat drop needs to do a lot of damage right now.
Yeah, it definitely needs to do a ridiculous amount of damage, actually. There's no missile turret here either to continuously harass this Oracle. 18 kills, that's ridiculous, man.
That's a trade That's a trade because Guilty said, well, I'm going to defend with Marines and Widow Mines only, not investing into any turret, which is a nice move because you save 75 minerals per turret. But also, there is a chance that Protoss player can kill a lot more SCVs.
All right, here comes the Hellbat drops. Almost instant reaction here from Stats. He's going to lose a High Templar, though. A feedback on the medevac that's eventually going to pick it off. And these Hellbats are just going to run into a choke of death there. Only 2 additional workers have been killed, so Stats really on top of his game here, man.
Yeah, and the Hellbat drop didn't do nearly as much damage.
It did basically nothing, man.
Yeah.
He got 2 probe kills, lost the medevac, lost 2 Hellbats, not worth it.
You also have to remember the 2 Widow Mines and the 4 Marines and the medevac that was harassed earlier in the game.
Yeah, and this is just so reflective in the supply now. Stats up about 10 supply over his opponent, 12 minutes into the game. That generally doesn't happen. He also almost has Storm completed. His upgrades are in a great position. Charge now done. The Terran player only just now starting his 1-1 upgrades.
And Combat Shield also only halfway done. We don't have that many medevacs stacked up for our Terran player. So even if he does have the 3rd base, all he can do right now is he can't push out. All he can do is fortify the 3rd base if he tries to risk it.
The Oracle also grabbing a few more kills there. That Oracle is now an Executor. That's how many kills he's gotten, up to 21. So,
wow.
Move over, Aldaris. The Oracle is the new Executor. Yeah, I know Aldaris died in Brood War.
Ah, man. Poor him.
All right, we have a Ghost Academy on the way from our Terran player. He's going to get that, of course, because Stats is going for the High Templar tech, and he didn't spot any Colossus as well. Stats, look at his defense in the main base. He's got a few units there for defense, already getting his 3rd expansion as well. Good observer coverage. He doesn't know about the 3rd base yet, but I'm sure that Stats will eventually scout that.
And also, we're 13 minutes into the game, and all we saw from Guilty is 1 medevac drop. Actually, 2 medevac drops, one with Widow Mines and the other one with Hellbats. Now Stats sees some army moving out and saying, well, that's nothing. Yeah. There's only a few Marauders and Marines in the mix.
And the Oracle continuing to pick off more workers here. This is pretty much the difference between an amateur player and a pro. Against an amateur player, these really good A-teamers like Stats, they're going to be able to go in here and just do that extra bit of damage that you don't normally see. This is smart, though. Guilty is going to be burrowing a Widow Mine by this third base. Pretty sure Stats knows what's going on now, though, and he's already sending some units over there to deal with that.
Yeah, and if you look at it, Guilty, he's trying to move out on the map, but because the Oracle is still alive, he can't push out. And now he misses his timing window. His opponent is getting up to third base. The Storm is finished for a Protoss player. In fact, I think he could transition into Colossus really quick right now because he has enough units to defend against what Guilty has right now. Yeah,
really common transition out of the Storm play if you get ahead early on. The double robo. But oh, very nice job there, sniping off one of those High Templar. The Zealot's taking the bulk of that Storm there, but still, that choke point is a bit dangerous for Guilty to attack up into. He's going to have to retreat, but he did pick off a High Templar, so you know, at least he got something out of that.
Yeah, that was not bad for a Terran player, but this should have happened about 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
In a regular game. So that's and you can tell how far behind he is right now. Only 128 supply for a Terran player, while 119 for a Protoss player as he throws down 3 additional gateways, and Colossus finally out of the way.
2 red medevacs barely escaping here from Stats' army, just, you know, completely routing Guilty's forces at this point. We do have Ghosts on the way from our Terran player, also adding in Hellbats and a lot of Marines into the mix. Kind of minor on the Marauders. He's also going for the 2-2 upgrade finally. But our Protoss player, you know, he is getting the +3 attack, and his +3 armor is already almost complete here. He's got Colossus production behind this, and it's just looking pretty scary for Guilty right now.
In fact, Guilty is only expecting High Templars out from his opponent, so that's the reason why he's making tons of ghosts right now. And to counter the charge, just a lot of Hellbats. This is nice. The problem, however, is Stats is moving into Colossus, and Guilty does not know about this.
Yeah, we have 3 additional gateways on the way for Stats. His +3 armor very close to finishing, as well as that Colossus range. Stats may actually go ahead and grab a 4th base here, or put up some forward pylons. He is moving across the map. Behind in supply now, but not by too much. He has the better army composition as well.
Oh, he doesn't know about the Colossus, and now he's going to try to engage up here.
All right, well, we have 2 Colossus here in the mix, but they're the forward a little bit okay. Moving back. The Zealots, though, getting roasted by the Hellbats here, but the Storms in the back, they're going to be able to do a lot of damage to this army. Storm's going down. The splash damage is just ripping this Terran army apart. The Immortals with the combined firepower of the Colossus are going to scare away this army. Guilty, though, he's making best with what he's got, escaping with the remaining few parts of his army in those medevacs, but now the supply deficit for him, it's pretty severe.
Yeah, the decision making, I have to say, was pretty good for Guilty, knowing that he only had one timing up there to take out his opponent, knowing that, okay, my opponent went for Colossus, there's no time for me to get enough Vikings out against my opponent's army composition, so I have to make something work, which was nice, but Stats, his High Templars were never EMP'd. In fact, Guilty's EMP landed on the Colossus, so the Storms ate away a lot of Guilty's army.
Yeah, Terran players know that EMPs do not counter Colossus. In a response to the Colossus switch, we have an additional starport on the way for Guilty, and he's going to try to churn out as much of those Vikings as possible. He is pretty far behind in the count there, only up to 3, and producing a lot of them at once. Now we also have Blink, +1 shields on the way for Stats. His +3 is about to finish, and he's going to be at a 1 upgrade advantage over his opponent as the 2-2 for Guilty completes.
Yeah, well, Stats, all he has to do is fortify his position a little bit more, get the AoE unit sound, and then charge into his opponent, or just force his opponent to charge into himself. Look at this. He's trying to make sure that the main army at the natural, while sending some Zealots over there to the third base to kill a lot of SCVs.
All right, EMP hits the large part of this Protoss army, but none of the High Templar.
This is a fake, because these Zealots are ripping apart those SCVs at the third base right now, and Guilty is not paying attention.
Unfortunately for Guilty, this is going to put him even farther behind, and you know, when the Protoss player's up 186 supply to 154, the worker count difference is ridiculous here. Up to 40 workers have been killed this game. Jesus, man, that is that's really severe. Also, a War Prism drop in the main. Stats out multitasking, outplaying his opponent Guilty pretty severely at this point.
And if you look at the minimap, even after all the SCVs have been killed, look at Stats right now. He's taking up to 4th base. He's playing this game as solid as possible. He knows that he's far ahead, but he just doesn't want to give it up by going for one stupid push where all of his Colossus and Templars get sniped.
Yeah, there's still a small chance that Stats can lose this game. But at this point, he's really far ahead. Even if he lost his army, there'd still only be a small little window where Guilty could potentially do a critical amount of damage, and he's not even able to deal with all the charge lots at the third, at the main. The unit's finally moving towards the third base, but Guilty is being picked apart right now.
And then this pretty much right here shows why Guilty is an amateur player, because he can't make the decisive decision right now. I don't know if the +1 on the air actually finished, because the armor was actually researching on the Ghost, but not Ghost, but Vikings, but I don't know if it finished.
I don't think it did.
And if this was a gamer, I would have to say the Terran player would have pulled all the SCVs just like right now and went for a timing push around a minute ago.
All right, the EMPs hit the bulk of those Immortals and Colossus, but not the High Templar.
He should ignore the Zealots and go for it.
He really has no other choice right now. This has turned into an all-in attack. The production is pretty much eliminated at this point for Guilty, as his economy is almost completely offline here, with the Zealots continuously attacking the SCVs at third base. And
look at the income between the two players.
It's
20
like
times better for stats.
20 times better, man. That means that Guilty has to play 20 times better than stats if he wants to actually win here.
Well, can he have the 20 times better micro in this engagement? Because now he's going to pull all of his SCVs, 28 SCVs in the mix, 6 Hellbats. He does have enough Vikings, but the problem is, can he land the EMPs on 11 High Templars that Stats has right now?
Let's not forget that Stats can reinforce a lot faster than his opponent. There's no reinforcement here. Oh, Storm going down hits pretty much nothing here. The Terran bank is pretty much run dry, and there's no additional banks there for loans, man.
Look at the Protoss bank right now. He could warp in 20 Zealots at the same time.
The world's his oyster. Excellent. Storms go down on the bulk of this army. The Colossus in the back are eventually going to be focused fire down here, but the ground army almost eliminated. The additional charge lot should be able to come in here and finish the job. The Immortal's still alive, doing a great amount of damage as well to the army, and this is pretty much going to be it from the looks of things. There it is, GG from Guilty, and Stats will advance from the MLG Spring Championship Qualifiers round of 32. And if we look at the results here for all of the players that have qualified from the round of 32, in the first game, Rain, he did get a bye, no opponent there. In the second game, Arya, 2-0s Czech, followed by that Terminator, 2-0s Odin. Lots of 2-0s here, once again flying, 2-0ing Barracks. And the game 5, the one we saw, Stats did 2-0 Guilty. We just saw one of those games. Game 6, Youngju, 2-0 to Bong, and then Game 7, Trap, 2-0 Swift, and Mekia goes 2-1 over Turn.
Now, Innovation also gets a bye in game number 9 as he advances into round of 16. Soxery 2-1's Motor from KT Roaster in game number 10, and Ty takes out Emotion. Sorry 2-0's Action in game number 2 advances into round of 16, while Effort also gets a bye into round of 16. JYJ 2-1's Hitman in game number 14 as Reality takes out Puzzle 2-0. And the last game in round of 32, S2, 2-1's Mind from KT Roaster.